Hello and welcome to what is this part three of our last day of Incrediweek before we start another Incrediweek up. Um, we have Keith Tucker coming up, a cartoonist who is amazing at with the work he does. He's a storyboard artist. We got a lot of great stuff. So let me bring him on. Hello, Keith.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm drinking coffee.
That's good.
That
That
makes
gets
it good.
that gets you up. I didn't have my coffee. I'm on like my 8th or 9th glass of water today. So
Well, have a sip.
thanks. If you see me with a red cup, it's only water.
Red cup.
So why don't you tell the viewers who are not familiar with who you are a little bit about yourself, some of your work that they may know that you've done.
Oh, they might have heard about this little show called Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain. A couple of shows I was a storyboard artist on, but I go way back. Feature films, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, doing animated effects. So the base animation for the transporters. I helped kill Spock. I pitched in. John Carpenter's The Thing. I animated the rocket trail on the spaceship, and then the first Conan movie with Schwarzenegger. And I did. I worked on the demon sequence, and when the demons all came to get him.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then. But then we didn't get the movie The Right Stuff, so we all got laid off. And some friends of mine were working over at Filmation, and I really wanted to get into storyboarding rather than hand-drawn animated effects, which, by retrospect, they were going away.
Yeah.
You had to do it in the computer. So I apprenticed on this show called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and so got my storyboarding chops together, and then I worked on She-Ra, and Princess of Power, and then I jumped ship because I really wanted to go work on Transformers. So I quit and went to Marvel and stayed there for a lot of years, almost 5 years, until they imploded. At that time, and we're starting with Transformers, Defenders of the Earth, robotics, Inhumanoids, Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines, Jim and the Holograms, and G.I. Joe. I don't know if I mentioned that, or Dino Riders. There were a bunch of others in there.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to Ruby Spears, worked in development. When they imploded, I went over to Ruby Spears, and that was wild. I got to work every day with Gil Kane. He was there every day. Wow. Jack Kirby and Roz would come in once a week with what Jack was working on.
Wow.
And he'd bring all this work, and we'd paint it and do different things with it, his work. And Alfredo Alcala was there too. A lot of other people may know or not. And then I went over to Disney, and we're migrant film workers of America. So you kind of move from this to that.
Yeah.
And worked on the origin of Gizmo Duck.
Wow.
And when you first got to meet Launchpad and them. And then we did Rescue Rangers and TailSpin.
Wow.
And I left Disney and went to work at Marvel again, and a bunch of other shows. I mean, there's been a lot.
Yeah. No, I know. I re-looked at your IMDb just to make sure I could pull out a few things to talk with, but I actually have, and I can't find it. We'll talk about this backstage. I had some storyboard books you sell at shows of work that you've done. and I saw you've done work for the X-Men cartoon back in the '90s, and
And
obviously,
Spidey.
what?
And Spider-Man in the 90s.
Yeah, Spider-Man in the '90s. Um, you did Animaniacs, like you said, Pinky and the Brain. I mean, you storyboarded like the childhood for so many people, and I think that's awesome. And one of the things I like when I looked at your storyboards is that for the most part, your characters were always on model. There wasn't very, like, I've seen storyboards that people have done where they don't really draw the characters looking like the characters. Your characters look like the characters in the storyboards.
We were taught to do that.
Okay.
We were expected to do that. And, because the work was sent overseas and it was blown up and traced right off the storyboards.
Okay.
And the tighter the boards were, the better the production. Now, a lot of stuff was done in Filmation was all done across the street in layout. So you could be looser. But, yeah.
No, that's it. I want to ask you, because artists, I'm also a teacher. I get this question a lot. And I find sometimes my students have trouble with this. And you drawing all these characters on model, do you find it hard to change styles so much between, or does it affect you when you draw, like, say you've been drawing, I don't know, a superhero story like X-Men, and then you move over to Animaniacs? Does that cause you issues, or can you just snap on a, change on a dime?
Sometimes, not always. And sometimes you can, if you really see it and you move, but the biggest problem is head size.
Okay.
You work on these big head, 2 feet tall characters, and then you go to 7 heads, and suddenly your realistic characters have these big heads, and that's you have to really watch. And sometimes even today I do it. Only today I can crop that head, clean it off, and stick a new one, and erase the other one on a layer.
Yeah, so you're working digitally then these days more than traditional?
A mix.
A mix, okay.
Yeah.
And just because I know we get people trying to get in the business right now and stuff, what software do you use when you're working digital?
Well, I use Photoshop.
Okay.
And and for storyboarding, you need to use Storyboard Pro from Toon Boom.
Yeah, no, I got that. That's a fun program. I like being in that. So you've had a very, very long career. You've worked, like I said, you worked on everyone's.
Hey, I can't hear you, Sonny. What?
You've worked on a variety of like I said, of everyone's childhood. Working on was, how do I want to say it? Was going into like the animation field your goal, whether it was to animate when you started, like you were saying, you're doing live action and you wanted to get into storyboarding? Was that your artistic goal, or were you doing something else and animation you kind of fell into?
I always loved animation.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all the Disney movies, and with Ernest, I've seen Fantasia a dozen times, paid to go see it.
Yeah.
And all the Batshee movies as they came out. I was really watching it. Tex Avery was like a god to me. But I really wanted to do comic books.
Oh.
And but you had to live in New York. And I was from LA. And I had grown up with the film industry. One of my stepfathers, long story, whatever, was a stuntman, and on like I think it was Bonanza and I forget the name, but a lot of those shows back then, the Westerns.
Yeah.
So in first grade, I'd ride my bike over to the studio a lot, and they knew me. And, oh yeah, Keith, come on in. And I'd hang out. And I wasn't a troubled I didn't cause trouble. And yeah, it was Bonanza because there was a picture of me with Lauren Green, but I never found it. It was gone.
Oh.
And but it was out there. And but yeah, I was bitten by the film bug early on, and I couldn't go. I didn't want to go to New York. I was really. I like it here. You know, the ocean, the surfing, and whatnot. So it's. I did murals for a while, and then, but I kept trying to do comic books, and I fell into the film because one of my neighbors had a lot of. He was a fanzine publisher, and we all had a bunch of friends in the art friends, as everybody has. Yeah. And one of them was working on Conan, and he knew they needed people. They knew I could draw, and they said, "Keith, come on."
It's nice. I mean, that's
history.
That's great. And what kind of, and when you were talking comics, were you talking like wanting to do like superhero comics, like Marvel, DC stuff, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were into the superheroes. Did you ever read any of the like Funny Animal, like the Bugs Bunny stuff, or any?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love Carl Barks, and I love the Beagle Boys.
Oh yeah. I'm a big. Actually, Scrooge is my all-time favorite Disney character. So I love all that stuff. I have tons of books of his, packed away. But
I just want to add one thing. Yeah. I learned to wear two hats. To have a long career in animation, you have to wear two hats. Sorry, I said it backwards. You'll be able to work in action, adventure, or comedy, because it ran in 5-year cycles back then.
Okay.
5 years, comedies came, and then superheroes suddenly have come back, and they're exploding on the scene until they wane, and then comedy again, or a hybrid like the Rescue Rangers or TailSpin. That's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah. No, I was just saying because, like I said, the style you do, I was just curious at getting some of those influences on you, and I'm looking at some of your work on my next screen here. We're going to bring up your website in a little bit. But before, I just want to ask you about a couple of things I see in the background there. I see a large brain right there, and I think Pinky's next to him, right?
Yeah, so, he's kind of blocked by this big-headed guy.
Did you we got a comment from Rodney Lockett. He says Keith is an amazing talent, and I do not disagree.
Rodney's a good talent too. He's amazing. And I hope Felicia's okay.
All right. Well, we'll be checking out his stuff. We also got Victor Romero saying big fan of the Funny Animal cartoons himself. But I see do you know how many Pinky and the Brain episodes you storyboarded off the top of your head?
No.
Okay.
A bunch.
Yeah. And I mean,
one fun one that I did was the reunion special, and in it we characterized the live action people who were the model for Pinky and the Brain, and Tom Minton and Eddie Fitzgerald.
Interesting. Okay, I actually didn't know that.
And I drew a cartoon version of them in the reunion special. Yeah. And Eddie is like a storyboard guy. I'd known him at Marvel for years. We shared an office, and he's just at Marvel Productions, and back in the 80s, and he is Pinky. And he directed a lot of Tiny Toons. One of I worked on with him was the Elevator.
Yes.
And
that
so my Elevator, I can say. Or
that's the one with the like Baby Plucky, like Kid Plucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Tom Ruger on a few weeks ago, and that was his son, I think he said, doing the voice.
Oh, really? I forgot.
And let's talk about. I assume you're a Batman fan because I see a big Batman in the front, but I also see is that that's a wacko Batman there?
Yakko, yeah.
That's Yakko. Oh, I thought it said wacko. Sorry. Can you tell me a little bit about that one there?
Oh well, there's a cosplay group here in Portland, Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll come to me later, but we did they did like a Make-A-Wish kind of small scale thing where this child who was going through a lot of brain surgery and all, and they asked me to take his character that he had and make it real professional. So I drew a model sheet of his character, and they presented it to him, and they made me an honorary member of the Portland Superhero Coalition. And then I was doing these shows at Rose City Comic Con, and they had these costumes of the Animaniacs. And because I had drawn the Animaniacs as superheroes, being Yakko as Batman, and for what being one of them, Brady Danger Grange, that was his character. And when they showed up, and it blew my mind. It was like, we based these on your drawings, and it was like, wow. I mean, it just floored me. Well, he passed away a few years ago, and they said that I had to have this.
That was nice of them.
So
we gotta. Oh, sorry.
To Brady.
To Brady. Take it. Remember, it's water, guys, in here.
I got water next after I drink the
Last of my coffee.
Rodney's actually asking a question that I was going to get to a little later, but since he asked it, let's ask it now. Keith, is there any animation jobs that you wish you would have done?
Oh, Roger Rabbit. This is granddaughter.
Hello.
And she just invaded. I drew Roger Rabbit comics. I never got to work on the movie. I wish I'd have done it.
Yeah, that's actually like I think my all-time favorite 80s animated film is Roger Rabbit. It's a fantastic piece of art there. But you got to work on his comic book, which I see on the next screen here. So I'm going to bring over what?
I don't see the next screen.
Well, we're going to bring it over right now. Here we go. And there we go. So this is
Oh my God.
This is your website, which is tuckertunes.com, and I'll put that up. Give me just 1 second. I'll make a little thing for it.
This is like the old 50s TV show. This is your life.
So this is tuckertunes.com, and you got a lot of really cool stuff on here. So if can I click on Roger, get enlarged?
Yeah, you see some of my covers and some of the pencils of the covers. I did work on the Rescue Rangers comic as well as the whole run of the show. And
I'm going to tell you right now, I have some of those comics in my boxes. I'm a big fan of collecting like the Disney stuff, Hanna-Barbera, So this is fun. I was looking at it earlier, but this is just great to look at. Is there anything on here that you really like that you'd like me to click on to bring to the forefront?
There's the Crab Nab. That was Little Mermaid comics, and I did these fully painted. Old school brush and acrylics, and it was a little 4-page story for
Little Mermaid Comics
magazine.
Oh, the magazine. Okay, I think I remember that.
But actually, yeah, you can see it there. I don't know if you can click on any of these or not.
I was trying to.
I guess that's as big as it gets.
Yeah, but this is great here. I love how you got the just classic characters all around here. Like who's that in the back? Is that Brer Rabbit? It looks like, and Brer Fox and Brer
Oh
Bear.
yeah, the Autumn Adventure one shot.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm totally serious. I have a bunch of these titles right in my couple of boxes over from me.
If there was still going to be Comic Cons, I'd be in Philadelphia. I'd say, bring them down. I'll deface them.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in Philly there. That's actually where we met. My business partner and I, we run kids sections at comic book conventions, and we were doing the kids section there, and then that's where I met you. And you worked on some Courage the Cowardly Dog pages, and Marty Grabstein, who's the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog, is a good friend of mine, and I brought him over, and you guys took a bunch of photos that I have somewhere still.
It was really funny. He had me. He told me to pet his head like he was a dog, because he was.
Yeah, Marty is a living cartoon character.
He certainly is.
And I told him that the other night when he was on here.
He comes pre-tuned.
Yes. Let's take a look at some of your storyboards here. If I can. Oh, it goes this way. So action adventure. So.
Well, if you click on the G.I. Joe, that's actually a little movie.
Oh, it's
pencils.
Oh, it's asking me to do my Flash plugin. I'm not. Oh. I'm sorry. I'll look another time and set it up. But is that on anything like YouTube or anything we can look at?
I forget. Hey, click on the Spidey one or X-Men, either one.
Oh, we'll do Spidey.
Yeah, Spidey.
What's going on? It's all saying I need my album is generated using. I guess I can't if it's got some kind of.
It's been there for too long. I'm sorry. I probably got to figure out what's wrong.
No, it's okay. Like here, I bet we can look at some of the storyboards here. Spidey flipping in, and hitting Doc Ock, and then it looks like it's a bit more of a close up on him, and then you get a long shot of Doc Ock rising, and his tentacles coming at.
Yeah, it'd be like a pan. So you're watching it go through. You see a square each way, and each time is another tentacle goes in and hits as Spidey tumbles.
That's great. I love looking at this type of stuff. Just me personally, I've done more. I haven't done a lot of storyboard work, but I've done like comics and stuff. But looking at storyboards is just fun for me because I like to, even though I love animation, I like to see the behind the scenes of the animation and how it becomes animated. Yeah,
well, here he's tumbling away from camera as you pan along. Now, if you cut to the next one, or click to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can click that way. I'll go back and go to the next one.
Yeah.
So that'd be this one here.
Yeah. So I had the idea of having a reflection of, you saw the mirrored buildings, and then you see him coming towards you, but it's his reflection, and he actually comes in from stage left when he's coming towards you from stage right.
Oh, interesting.
And I noticed that got used in the second Spider-Man movie, and they either saw this or had the same idea themselves.
That's great there. I'm sure they were highly inspired by what you did here.
Maybe not. It's a natural. I mean, a lot of storyboard is like you look at your setting, and you figure out how to utilize what you have to tell your story. Because you don't just want a cardboard cutout. Hi, I'm here, and they will do this and that. You want to integrate it with your environment. Sorry, I'm going into teaching mode. So.
No. It's okay. I mean, a lot of people who watch, like I said, end up are just out of school or sometimes just in school or just fans that either love this stuff or don't even know much about it, but want to know more. So having a little educational lesson never hurts anyone.
And knowing is half the battle.
Exactly. But I have to say, and I want to ask you this, since you worked on the storyboards for Spider-Man, I was interviewing someone earlier in the week, and he says of all the Spider-Man cartoons, this is the closest adaptation that ever came out to the comics. Now, being someone who was a comic fan, did you read Spider-Man growing up, and do you feel the same about this?
Yeah. The first Spider-Man I read off the stands was Amazing Fantasy 15.
Okay. So it was
and
I think every comic fan out there knows that one. We got another Rodney comment. Sorry, not comic. He says, if you had an opportunity to do an animation piece for a new heavy metal movie, would you want to do an original piece or a continuation from the original movie?
Well, nobody could top Mobius. Or Bernie Wrightson. Yeah, man. I'd want to see Captain Stern. I'd want to see, Mobius's character, though she wrote on that thing.
Yeah. It's been years since I've seen it, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. No, maybe something new.
Yeah.
Toon World. You know what I really want to see a movie is they do Bizarro World. The square world.
Yeah, from the Superman comics.
Yeah. And I think they should just play it, like you just, right away, you're in that world and you find it happening in front of your face.
That's interesting. Wow. Let me ask you, just because we're talking about this, he's asking these questions. I always ask, I'll remove this for a second so we could chat a little.
Away with you.
A little bit. I always ask this usually towards the end of the interview, but since, Rodney's been asking these kind of questions, is there an animation job you wish you would have done, or the thing about heavy metal? Is there a dream project that either you want to do that either has never happened or that, well, he asked if you wish you'd been part of it, but like if you were to say, I want this animated series or I want this live action movie and you get to storyboard or be part of it in some way, what would that be? That's a big question, I know.
I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything that that you didn't work on before you got into the biz that you would have loved to be part of?
Raiders.
Okay.
Or the Lost Ark.
Yes, the first one. The best one.
Star Wars. I did work on Star Trek.
I have killed Spock.
Do you want to? And you talked a little bit about that, but if you want to, we can go into a little more detail about what you actually did for the Star Trek movie.
The base animation, the director wanted the characters to be talking while they're transporting, and so they were moving. So I had to rotoscope them, and they wouldn't stay still. It wasn't like the old '60s, where they were like, and we're here now. We're moving. No, they were moving, and I'm like, oh, he moved his arm, he moved this, and and I'm like, I had to do all that.
Wow.
And then I used an ellipse guide to set the timing for the animation. Then Peter Curran's Visual Concepts Engineering, VCE, was the company I worked for. Okay. They got the blanket credit. We didn't get individual credit on Conan or Star Trek, but John Carpenter requested all the names of all the people who worked on his film. So that's how I got in on the thing. And no, it's fun. Fun times.
Yeah.
I'm digressing away.
What?
I'm digressing away.
It's okay. You know, it's you know, you've had a great career, and you've done
It's
some.
all over now.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
You'll find me at the drawing board at the end.
That's you know where I think a lot of us like to spend our time. Let's bring back your page, and these are some storyboards you've done for some more of the humor, the comedy stuff here. Let me just come on over here. So, well, let me just ask you, what version of Tom and Jerry was this that you worked on?
That was the movie.
Okay.
That was really interesting. I got to work directly with Joe Barbera, and we did it and Phil Roman, and we did it old school. We pen these up on a big board, and we talk about it and have bounce ideas around. These are the final tighter drawings, you know, where they were much looser, and also with Mike Peraza, and who's one hell of an artist. And he was the art director on the film. And this actually didn't get made, but it was done directly with Joe Barbera. And what I'd love to see this actually get animated.
Yeah, it looks nice. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
I mean, because of it was directly with Joe Barbera, you know, the creator, co-creator of Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
And he had, you know, he talked about what he wanted to see, what happened. And we can do this, and and do that. And they should do it.
Yeah. Well, you got to talk to Warner Brothers now.
They moved their offices when they closed down Hanna-Barbera. They had offices at Warner, and I got them to sign my Hanna-Barbera books.
Yeah, was that the thing at the end here? That one of the things?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now we always, you know, we've talked to a few people who've worked in the industry, who've worked for Hanna-Barbera of some sort. They always say they have a good Joe Barbera story. Do you have a good Joe Barbera story you can share with us?
I don't know. I'm not good at stories.
It's okay.
Just had a fun time working with them,
and that you know, to me that's important. You know, that's the best thing. I just, you know, we just ask because they always say he gives he leaves you with some good stories sometimes. So, and we got Victor comments that I don't get why many people hated that Tom and Jerry movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. But what you said is this one wasn't made, so this was for, he must be talking about a different Tom and Jerry.
No, it's the same. It just wasn't. It didn't make the final cut.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Your pieces there didn't, but it was the same Tom and Jerry movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got confused.
What we did is we tried to open it up like an old Tom and Jerry cartoon. This was the opening title before the title sequence. So it was like a cartoon, an old cartoon before the movie began.
And they didn't want that in there?
They changed their mind of what they wanted to do. I don't know why. I wasn't privy. All I know is we created an old Tom and Jerry style cartoon with Joe Barbera and Mike Peraza and Phil Roman, and it's sitting there boarded.
I mean, they're bringing back Looney Tunes. Why not, you know, why not Tom and Jerry? And they are doing a new, what is it? They're doing a new Hanna-Barbera called Jellystone, correct? If you heard about that?
Yeah.
So I don't see why they couldn't bring back Tom and Jerry like that.
Oh, I'm sure they will sometime.
Yeah. Let's do. Is there any one in particular on the storyboards here that you like an Animaniacs or TailSpin that you want us to pull up?
Well, how about Pinky and the Brain?
Pinky and the Brain.
Da 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 da.
Ooh. That's a detailed image.
I get carried away. I like to draw. They give us more time. Is that getting any bigger, or is that it?
No, that's it. Well, you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to remove us from the stream.
We're going away.
And let me see if I can zoom in and see if it doesn't ruin quality on it. That's as big as I can get.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
This is also an outtake. This is Beach Blanket Bingo. And Brain was trying to win the surf contest so he could take over the world by getting all the surfer kids to follow him. At any rate, he falls under the sea. And, this is all in the script. And a lot of things that we do get cut. And can you go to the next page?
Yes. Where's my mouse? There it is.
He goes to the bottom of the sea, can't get up, and he's like, and then he falls down, and here come the sea monkeys, and the shadow comes over him, and there's another couple of pages. I think you have to get out of here to go to them, but he's rescued by the sea monkeys.
Okay.
Oh, I only put 2 up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. They're beautiful drawings. I love looking at them here, and I'm pretty sure our fans and people watching are just enjoying looking at this stuff too. But yeah, and so you spent a lot of time though on Pink in the Rain. That was was that one of your longest running gigs as a storyboard artist?
No, I mean, I've had a lot of runs. I mean, we did 65 half hours of Rescue Rangers.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
There's been a whole bunch. Tuttenstein I was on a lot.
We'll go to Rescue Rangers. And we'll zoom in on this here. Nice. So you left Disney after TailSpin, so you didn't work on any the Goofy stuff or Darkwing?
No.
Okay.
No, I quit. My idea of a raise and theirs were 2 different things.
I understand. This is nice.
They were telling me, you're giving up a job you could have for life. But the person who told me that and our entire crew ended up getting laid off a couple of years later.
Oh, wow.
So
it was a good move.
Yeah. I mean, I'm have a very secure retirement because I was an artist, but I was also aware of the business.
Yeah.
It's all fun, especially when you're young and you're learning to do as much as you can, but you still you're going to do this the rest of your life. You want to have a secure, I've worked union jobs mostly, and have a secure pension and, be able to take care of yourself. And, I'm having a nice retirement. Go out of here. Go to the next one.
Which one?
I'll go back. I'll tell you.
To the comics or the storyboards?
Storyboards.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking around and seeing.
Go back to comedy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I don't know if I have anything in Tiny Toons.
I'll take a look.
It may be empty.
You got a couple of pages.
Oh yeah, Plucky and the Elevator.
Yes. That's great. I'll zoom in.
Not your turn. My turn. I push 8. I push 8. Oh, and this is at the end.
And
the elevator goes down the hole.
That's great. That's great. And what's funny is I'm remembering all this as I'm looking at these things too. So it's really nice. If anybody out there has more questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to ask any questions you wanna ask Keith. I was about to say Tiny Toons, but
go to Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim, another great cartoon series.
I really enjoyed this show. They left me alone. I used to call in and ask, can I change this in the script? Can I change this? And they'd say, okay, yeah, you can. Then about the third show, they hand me the script and they say, Keith, if you want to change anything, we love what you do. Just have fun. You can rearrange dialogue. You can rewrite dialogue.
Wow.
We don't care. Go for it. And that went on for the rest of the show.
Wow. And that is not something that usually happens.
No.
That just shows how, like Rodney said, you're an amazing talent. That just goes to show that you really have great ideas. You know what you're doing, and you know how to enhance a scene.
I learned a lot from listening to working at Marvel and Warner Brothers and with the older guys that'd been in the biz, and I listened to them. And there were a few people who are like, oh, those old guys, and I'm like, what the hell? I would bring my own lunch and sit around and play chess, and get told things that meant that I used in my career.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that just shows how dedicated you were and how much, you were just, I've talked with people who were always, if you want to call them mentors or something that I've worked with in the industry, and the old timers really know their stuff.
Yeah.
Even if things change, what they're telling you from what I've learned is, it's just different technology we may be using, but those fundamentals that they've mastered and are passing on to us is still relevant.
Yeah. I mean, I remember working with Ken Mundy. He worked on Peter Pan and the Wild Wild West TV show, the opening title.
Yes,
he did that
with
the company he did it for, but he's the guy who did the boards and the animation. But he would come in and say, well, we're looking to go this way, and if we're going to do a party, we don't need to focus on a crowd of people. We want to start somewhere close and move through the people. And you get a feeling that there's a lot there, but you don't have to show it all.
Yeah.
Or, like in Dumbo, or there were you saw everything happen with shadows on the tent. A lot of classic shots that have been used a lot since then. But, in those early days, we were looking for it. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
I also started going into Miyazaki in my head, and he's a master that I never met, but all of his stuff, even now, new stuff, Ponyo, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've always told my students is, just because I'm your teacher doesn't mean you can't have teachers that you've read from, watched. Like, I take in everything that I've learned. I learn everything from everything I've watched, everything. You know what I mean? It's just, if you watch something enough and you follow or whatever, you can see and learn just from that guy did that. That's an interesting angle he used, and why did he use that? And and I'll look at it and I'll see that in films or comics, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I'll study, find the artist's work and look more of that artist's work and see, is it something he did, or was it, script related that he was supposed to do, so I like to do that. We have a couple of questions here. One's from Victor. He says, of all of the shows you've worked on, are there any you wish would have lasted longer than they did?
Pinky and the Brain!
Yes, that show.
Pokemon got our time slot. We didn't get renewed.
Yeah. Well, that was very popular. Still is. But Pinky and the Brain, though, that was, how many seasons did that run? Was that 1 or 2?
I think 2. I'm not sure. At least 2.
Yeah. But, the
Animaniacs?
Well, that's what I was going to say. They were part of and the new Animaniacs is coming back. I don't know how that's going to be or who's involved. When we talked to Tom, he said he doesn't know anybody from the original show involved.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So
We'll see.
Rodney, what?
We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see how
It could be good. Could be great.
Yeah, I'm. You know, when Tom was on, and I've talked about this before. I said I was in high school when Animaniacs came out, maybe 15, I think. But I always considered that my Looney Tunes. You know, like because they you know, and you, because you worked on it, you know, you caricatured people that I knew from, you know, TV, from the news, from stuff like that. So it wasn't like I had to go back and watch old Looney Tunes and say, well, is that Humphrey Bogart? You know what I mean? It was like I got this, and I got these jokes, and they were it's very much my era of Looney Tunes. And even if the new Animaniacs isn't good for me, in my opinion, I hope the audience watching it has that same feeling that I had. You know,
Exactly.
That's what I'm looking for.
It was a directive from Spielberg that it appealed to adults and kids simultaneously, like the old Looney Tunes, because those were aired in theaters. We used to get a cartoon before the movie instead of commercials before the movie. And we still had trailers, but we had a cartoon.
Yeah.
And it had to appeal to adults and kids. And that's what Spielberg wanted with Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain and Elmo.
That guy knows what he's doing, you know, for
the
success that he has. What?
He did a couple of fairly decent things, I think.
Yeah.
May have heard about.
Yeah. Nothing off the top of my head, though. But
the only thing he never did was Star Wars.
Yeah, basically. But he's done like some sci-fi based movies, so it's close enough, right? We got Rodney asking, if you had a job with DC or Marvel, which comic would you have wanted to work on?
You know, it all depends on what's happening. A wish list. Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. They did do those comics.
Yeah, and I have them in my box. I don't have the whole set, but I have a good amount of them in.
And I noticed they used some of our storyboard. They had our storyboards, and so I saw things. I go, oh, you know, because they parody shows that we did. And was like, oh, how interesting.
Okay, Rodney has a question from, is it Felicia? What character have you drawn the most? The Brain, of course. And is that like your most requested if you're doing a commission at a con or something, or just in general?
No, it's usually both of them.
No, what I'm saying, are like Pinky and Brain are your most common like commissions or something at shows?
Yeah, and Animaniacs.
Okay. And Victor says Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain were fun, but I really loved Tiny Toons.
Oh, yeah. I also did some work in Tiny Toon magazine. Some of the centerfolds. They weren't centerfolds. They were crazy.
Yes. I actually remember that magazine. I think those were the ones that you know, like before comic shops got popular, you would actually be able to find them in the supermarket, right on the you know, right on the where the magazines were, with the you know, trash mags, as you call them there. Whatever, what were they? The Reader's Digest and stuff like that. The Inquirer, all those magazines, they had the little kids sections in some of those. And I remember getting things like that. They had a Disney Adventures book. Was that the Disney thing you were, the Autumn Adventures it was, or something you said in the Disney?
No, those are comics.
Those are actual comics
yeah.
books. All right, because we only got a few minutes. I don't want to say a few minutes. We got about 10 minutes left. I did want to ask you a little more about comics. You worked, we saw the images that you worked on. Let me just go back to the page for me. So you've also done educational stuff, obviously, it says here.
Oh, yeah.
But the action adventure I was looking at, but I'm sorry, I went to storyboards, not comics. Action adventure comics. So
I didn't do a lot.
Well, you did things that are interesting to me. So I'm going to share the screen real quick. Hit the stream here. So like you got the Fighting Yank.
I did that for Will Minio's. It was a pinup, and oh God, I forget the name of the book. I'm sorry,
but he was working with that was public domain characters.
Yeah,
yeah, and I just have a love of the public domain characters out there.
Oh, you should see what Will Minio's about to come out with. He's doing Agents of Earth, and he's taken like Fighting Yank and all these guys, and it's set in the 60s. It's pretty cool.
I'll check that because I do follow him on Facebook. I might have seen a post or something about that. But I do, I have like I said, I have a love for the public domain. So like the stuff Dynamite did. I don't know if you ever looked at that, what Dynamite Comics did with the public domain. I always enjoyed that. But you have some like the weird comics here. Are these just covers that you've done, or?
Well, I did a story. I started telling. I did a comic of that.
Okay.
Self-published.
Mm-hmm.
And what if ancient Polynesia really was invaded by tikis from outer space? So I set the stage. It was originally a Tiki magazine, and it was like a half-page comic. It's serialized. And I did it for about 6 or 7 issues. And then they sold the magazine. But the new owners, I asked them, do you want to continue this comic strip? And they went, oh, yeah, we love it. Okay, same deal. And they went, oh, we can't pay you, but you'll get exposure.
Oh, yes.
You can die of exposure.
Exactly. The famous line. Oh, yeah, we can't pay, but I promise you exposure.
I think the magazine actually died because I don't think they ever came out with it. It's like they bought it and it died. Because they told everybody else that. Yeah.
Well, if you don't pay people, no one wants to work.
Money talks, nobody walks.
Yeah, we all have bills to pay. That's the hard life of work in the creative field here.
Zachary.
But when I looked at and I know they weren't when I looked at them, when I took a second look before we even started the interview, before we went on live, I was looking at these and it made me feel like those old. I love the cover. It has that old retro EC comic, yeah, exactly, feel, and I was like, oh, I love those. So
what's not to love?
And you want to explain? Was this Rocketina?
Yeah, but it's really Hello Nurse in Space.
That's what I figured. Was this a comic you did, or just like a pinup or something?
Yeah, I was trying to do a EC style comic book, and she was like the horror host in space. And I did a few stories, and Diamond didn't want to carry it because they said, we don't think you'll sell 15,000 copies. And I went, I don't think I'll sell 15,000 copies. But, it's all printed. Here they are. No, well, if it doesn't sell that much, we don't want it. By that thinking, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would never have happened.
Exactly.
But that's what happened with Diamond. They basically got taken over by the Majors.
So, so yeah, you got these great, like I said, easy looking. Is this anyone in particular, or is this your own creation? He looks familiar to me. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it's a takeoff on the Action Comics, the original Action Comics.
Well, no, I knew the pose, but I'm saying the character.
Meteor Man.
Okay.
It's some silly idea. This is ancient history.
I just love your style, though, like with this. So, let's see.
There's one. Go back up.
Mm-hmm.
The Matter of Time, or Strange Alien Tales. That is the cover of the comic I did that we were just talking about.
Oh.
And, you know, zombies in space and stuff like that. And then the next one is a color version of the Matter of Time. This was inked by Dave Simons.
Okay.
And it was done in 3D for Eclipse's Alien Worlds or something. I forget the title. And 3D Alien Tales, something like that. It was in 3D. So I thought I'd take and do a color version of it.
That's nice. I like that. I like it.
And Dave Simons was a phenomenal inker and a good friend and storyboard artist. He left us quite a few years back. He had cancer issues.
Yeah. Was there anything? So these are. What are these pages from?
These were something I was doing with Elliot Megan. And it was a project that just the publisher kind of went under, and it just kind of, that was it. It never happened.
There's a lot of stuff that just don't happen.
Yeah, because I look at these pieces and I like really see some, beauty in all this here, and one of the things and one of the reasons I wanted to talk more about comics, which we're running out of time, is because you've done more than storyboards, and I know a lot of people know you just for storyboards.
Right.
Like I said, you did and just quickly, the children's books you've done, the detective.
I'll pass on this one.
What?
I'd skip this.
Oh, you'd skip it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So we looked at the comedy comics that you did. We looked at, your storyboards. I mean, the one thing that I keep going back to is, just how impressive you are, not just like we've said before, talented, but versatile. And I think that's a great term and a great thing for an artist to be.
Thank you.
And you show it off on this website amazingly, and with the skills and everything I see you post on Facebook. Do you have, before we go, is there any social media where you want me to share where people can find you?
Tuckertunes.com, Facebook. I post a lot there.
And that's just your name, right?
Yeah, Keith Tucker. If you see the Animaniacs, you'll know you're in the right place. If you'd have gone to the RoboCop storyboards,
I'll be happy to.
This is on one of the pages.
Is that on what? Adventure for the cartoon?
No, live action storyboards.
Okay, I will.
But this is like from the RoboCop 3 movie.
So this one we're looking at, I'm just trying to see the actual piece based on, so he's looking down a tunnel.
Yeah, and that he gets attacked by the Otomo. I forget it. That was the actor's name. This robot, this other robot.
Yeah, oh wow, you got a lot of okay, I don't think I saw that one specifically on there, but we can zoom in on any of these here. Unless I missed, no. Oh, this was no. I think it was coming from another angle when I saw that one, but let me click on it and let me put this. Let me just show this here, just so people can follow you. And I'm going to go to the page right now, so we can see. And this is a, you know, again, the shading that you've done on this, you know, capture the feel of the mood.
It's all pencil.
Yeah, I was going to ask. It looks like pencil from the scan. I can't scroll down on here. So
I don't know. It's old.
It's
You
okay.
already saw these, but if you go, yeah, that's where he gets kicked, and you cut to another cut.
This really is, and that's him falling down
towards camera, right?
Towards camera, yes. Nice.
But that was in RoboCop 3.
Great. I got to be honest, I don't remember that movie as much as the first one. But I was a big RoboCop fan. You didn't work on the RoboCop cartoon at all, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. I remember that quite a bit. Was that a Sunday morning show, I believe?
Yeah, it got shelved for a while. We were working on it, then it got shelved, and they moved us to some other stuff, and then it came back.
So this is supposed to be him looking, well, his point of view, because we're seeing his computer screen. Interesting. You know, it's funny because, you know, you watch this stuff and you don't think about the storyboard aspect on RoboCop, with someone having to draw his point of view, looking at how the lines would be on there. It's very... And here he is getting kicked and then falling backwards. And so this arrow, just for people who aren't storyboard people, this arrow is showing the direction of what? Where the person's bouncing back from?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the other arrow is the camera move.
The camera down. Okay. All right. Whoops, why is it doing that? I must be clicking on it some way. We'll just look at one or two more, and then I'm going to let you go because I know you're at a different time frame. I want you to have a good day and enjoy the rest of,
Well, you got Tom Cook coming on next.
Yeah, he's coming on at 5 p.m. We got almost an hour before he comes on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's coming on at 5. If you want to come back, I'll send you an invite to the link, and you can hang out with him too.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, and while you're looking at that, I found some of these.
Let me give you the screen. I see it. What is it?
It's a Wacko's Wish.
Oh, okay, yes.
And they're going off to the wishing star, and let me get this right. No, there. Wacko's goofy face, and the last shot you saw is Plot is coming. Not Plot, I forget his name, but the wagon's coming towards camera.
Uh-huh.
And
wow.
And he brings the reins down. It was all part of the same shot. And then we cut to a down shot, and he comes through with the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And Rita and Runt pop out the back of the wagon as the wagon goes away from camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wagon comes towards a bridge and goes over, and the Animaniacs come through too. I mean, no, this is the Animaniacs are leading. And oh wait, we've cut to a different part. It's out of order. Well, sorry.
It's okay. It's beautiful to look at anyway, just what you're showing us.
Like this is actually out of order, but this would be, you'd see the buildings and you'd see the wagon wheel come through frame.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd see Farfig Nugan with racing along with his headshot, and then it's just his hooves. And then you'd see that.
Yes.
and plots raises up, and he brings the reins down, and this is the shot that was supposed to follow, where you get to the bulls, and they're coming towards camera, and then the wagon comes through scene, in and through, followed by the Animaniacs. You see the wagon off in the distance going away. The Animaniacs come in and go. I get to my finger would do. It's not reversed.
It's okay.
Any rate, that's a few things.
Yeah.
Oh, and if I've been taking a lot of my storyboards and collecting them into the storyboard sketchbooks.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that. That was I got 2 from you last time I saw you in Philly, and I think it was
that one.
I got that one, and I think I got an Animaniacs Pinky and the Brain one.
That one.
That's the one I have those 2, and you did a sketch in both of them for me, which I love when I can find them.
Something like that.
Yes, I forget who you did though. I don't think you did Brain for me. I know in the action one you did the Transform. You did Optimus Prime,
right?
Or you did a Ninja Turtle. You did it. I think you did Prime and a Ninja Turtle for me. Nice.
And this is like Brainwashed, and I am not a hat. And we made fun of the Prisoner TV show.
That is.
And yeah, I think this one.
Yeah.
Has some of the Spidey stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about that with the. I was I've used that. I've taught a class for years. I don't teach at the college anymore, but when I did, I was at a college for 16 years, and I taught a class called Visual Storytelling, and I had to teach the kids how to storyboard. I used to show them those books that I got from you, and they loved watching. They loved it because they were cartoons they watched. So
they could relate.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I would show. And then I would show other stuff too. But your stuff always kind of was like, oh, can I see that Spider-Man? I'd keep them in my office so I could just pull them out when kids wanted to look at it. They come in on my office hours, chat with me, and I used to keep a bunch of different books, and those were some of their favorites to go through.
Cool.
So, yeah.
They're still available.
I will let people know. So they can find you on Tucker Tunes and on Facebook at Keith Tucker. And reach out, and when cons start up again, I'm sure you'll have them. Is there a way for them to purchase off the website right now with cons being down?
Yeah, there's on the website. There's I think I don't remember. There's something about books or something on the front page.
Okay,
I can't remember.
We can take a quick look, and then I'll let you go. Whoops. Add to stream here. Let's take a quick look. This way we can make sure people get to. Let's go home. Yep. And more tunes. That's about comedy. You got a lot of stuff.
Sketchbook Shop.
There it is. Sketchbook Shop, and you can go and see and
click on that. Launching now.
Okay. So now here, $30 and
with postage included, I think.
Nice.
He gets a free sketch.
The free sketch inside, so that's awesome. Yeah, I recommend.
And there are others.
Yeah.
The other ones are below, including Jim and the Holograms.
Yeah, right there. I think this is them.
Jim and the Holograms. My job was doing the song sequences. So
really?
It was like my MTV moment. I got to, do songs.
That's
which
cool.
It's like doing main titles. It's, it's the same thing. Like the main title sequence for G.I. Joe, the second season, is mine. Our crew, 3 of us on the crew were asked to come up with an idea for a title, and I did one, and at any rate, they chose mine. And then they did another version where they did a little of mine and a little of everybody's, as well as they gave the Sunbow the option to go with. But they went with mine, and there's a little bit that was cut out that's in the storyboard book, but there's a couple little sequences that were cut out. But it's mine.
That's awesome.
But doing titles is really fun because you have a piece of music and you know where to hit the beats. My first Animaniacs was the monkey song.
Okay.
I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do.
Yeah.
Which was in the first Animaniacs.
Yes. So I remember I was actually just rewatching the series on, was it Hulu? I think it is. They have them.
Yeah.
So Hulu, Tiny Toons is on there, Animaniacs. I don't think they have Pinky and the Brain. What?
Oh, yeah. No Pinky and the Brain?
No, I don't think they have Pinky and the Brain yet. I'd have to look that. Oh, I think they have, what is it, Pinky Elmira in the Brain, maybe, on there?
Well, that was fun, but it wasn't as great as... I mean, there were good things about it. It was the same crew. A lot of people had issues with it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, why Elmira, but... we were happy to keep working.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a quick look right now on my phone and see if the actual Pinky and the Brain is on there. So, Pinky... Yeah, so they have Pinky in the Brain and Pinky Elmira in the Brain. And I know Wacko's Wish is on there, so, yeah. I mentioned to you earlier, I spent a lot of time being sick, basically the entire month of April.
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah, I had it, and...
you survived.
What?
You survived.
Oh yes, very very happy to have. And I had a 2-week quarantine confined to one room of my house. If I left the room, I had a mask and sometimes glove up and stuff. But that's what I did. I went on Hulu and I watched like all those shows again, and that was what passed my time, until I was able to start drawing again. So, but I want to let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your day, because I know you're out. You got a 3-hour time difference. You got, what is it?
You got a granddaughter here. You saw her earlier.
Yes. Go hang out with her. So I'm going to. I just want to say thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed chatting with you. And this happens to me quite a bit when I talk with other artists. It was actually very inspiring. I do my own work, but when I get to talk to other artists, it makes me want to just stop what I'm doing and draw. Stop drawing. and you gave me that feeling. So to me, that made it a fun time for me. And I think everyone who tuned in to watch really enjoyed what you had to say. And this will be able to be replayed on the Incredicon HV Facebook page, which is on now, and on my personal YouTube page if you ever want to go back and look at it at Michael Gracia. So
I want to link it to my stuff.
I will send you a link after I do Tom's interview. I'm going to organize everything. All right. So thanks again for coming on. I'm going to I'm just gonna send you backstage. But before I go, anything you want to promote? Any last words you want to say?
You're wearing my shirt. Is that? Let me see that.
No, this is Disney. Goofy.
Yeah, I know. No. Oh, it's a different one. I thought it was the shirt I had. I've got a Goofy one. I did draw a Goofy comics cover.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot.
But it wasn't one of mine. I didn't mean that.
I will say I have an entire draw and a half full of Disney T-shirts, and then I got Warner Brothers, Hanna-Barbera, everything. I have nothing but graphic tees. I have 3 draws full. So there's a good chance.
I hear. I collect shirts too, and I have friends who collect shirts. A friend of mine in New York, Manny, he's got one hell of a shirt collection.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're fun, and I get to choose, what I want to do. But I have a lot of Disney because I'm a big Disney geek too. So, but thanks again. It's been a lot of fun. I will. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Take care. It's great to meet you, and this has been fun.
Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. All right. Bye. All right, everybody. So thank you for tuning in with Keith Tucker, and remember, go to his website, Tucker Tunes. Find him on Facebook. great talent, amazing guy. And you can make sure on Tucker Tunes you stop and buy one of his books, or more. Buy as much as you can because they are fantastic. So coming up at 5 p.m., which is in about 40 minutes, we're going to have Tom Cook, who animated a lot of, I guess, my childhood and a lot of yours. You know, things from the Super Friends, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, tons and tons of stuff. So I'll see you right here on the Incredicon HV Facebook page or on my YouTube page at Michael Gracia at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you later.